Hello and welcome to another episode of Breaking Mayberry, the show that came here to critique old television and chew bubblegum and is all out of bubblegum. I'm one of your hosts, I'm Marty Schneider.
I'm the other host, I'm Dan Ludwig.
How you doing, buddy? What's going on?
Good. I mean, do I actually say how I am? Because it's really bad, but for boring reasons? No, but I'm doing good, Marty. Cut that last part out. I'm doing great.
Absolutely not, friend. Absolutely not. We got a couple of episodes of the Andy Griffith Show for you today that are not interesting to the average person, but in the context of what we do, fucking fascinating.
Yeah.
Just like a Rosetta Stone.
In the context of the mythos we're crafting, incredibly important.
But first, I would like to hear a cute, wacky animal story. Dan, you got any cute, wacky animal stories for me?
So fucking lucky, Marty, because I happen to have the ultimate not the ultimate. I have a cute animal story.
Okay. All right, buddy.
Okay, so I texted you a couple of weekends ago of, I can't tell you the full story now, but a kangaroo stole my wedding ring.
And I was like, yeah, man, a dingo ate my baby. What the fuck are you talking about? What?
So, for, as a birthday present to my now wife, I got us a trip to the Barnhill Animal Preserve, which I highly recommend if you are able to get to the southern border of Delaware. It's right on the border to Maryland. It is like a small animal sanctuary. They do like rescues, so basically like some jackass bought a camel and then couldn't take care of it, so now they take care of the camel.
That's good. I was worried when you showed me, I was worried you were getting into some like Tiger King, some Joe Exotic shit.
We pulled up and I was like, oh fuck, I got us tickets to a Tiger King. Shit, this is gonna be grim. But no, they were like, no, we know what we're doing. We got, we didn't, ship a camel overseas. We, got this through, responsible means. Acquiring a camel completely above board.
Just on the books. We have papers for this camel.
Yeah, because we rolled up and we were like, okay, that's a camel. We are not in a tropical atmosphere. Is this fucking okay?
Saharan.
Yeah.
Saharan. Tropical is jungle.
Yeah.
But okay, so this is like these are repossessed from Jungle King.
Basically,
from
yeah.
Tiger
They're
King,
the big cat rescue from Tiger King.
Still not great, but all right.
Yes.
Not the example you want to use.
Yes.
Not the example you want to use.
One of those that is a more ethical version of that. It's an animal sanctuary. But
okay. I'm on board.
So we pull up. I got us swimming with the otters, which is what it sounds like. You get a tour of the preserve. You get to meet all of these animals, and then at the end of it, you get in a heated pool with two otters that will run around and fight each other and climb all over you and stuff.
I was wondering about this. That sounds adorable and like a lot of fun, but otters have claws.
Oh, they don't use them on you. No, but their claws are like cat claws at best. They have little dog claws.
Cats can scratch the shit out of you. What are you talking about?
Cats can scratch the shit out of you. Mostly they just wanted to fight each other. We got into the pool and they were like, all right, so these two haven't seen each other in a while, and when that happens, they're gonna want to beat the shit out of each other for 15 minutes. So just let them do that, and then they'll get bored and they'll come play with you. And that happened, but and they were doing
like your friends from college.
Yeah, but they were doing that. They did that, and then they would come over and swim. One of them would come swim over to us and rest their head on B's shoulder, and it would be a really cute moment. And then another one would just come into nowhere and be like, "Pile driver, bitch!" As soon as one of them would start being cute, the other one would be like, "Let your guard down, idiot!" Bam! And then they would just be going again. The only picture I got with them, Brianna got a picture of one of them draped over her shoulder and falling asleep, and it was just because the other one had been winning too much lately, so he was like, fuck it, I'm getting on this shoulder. But the only one I could get was just like an otter doing a jump off of me so he could spin kick his brother in the face.
That's cooler. That's way cooler.
It was sick. I basically was just the arena for a protracted otter fight. Like, I was a Super Smash Bros. Stage while two otters just beat the Christ out of each other.
Dan's nipples, no items.
Yeah. An otter hit it, like, an otter just on one shoulder and another one on the other, and the otter just throws a home run bat at him. But yeah, so we met camels, armadillo, we got to feed lettuce to sloths, we met a capybara. Big one before we met the otters was they had a bunch of kangaroos in like a large open air, not like full size, like man size kangaroos, but like kind of, you know, basically shoulder height if they're standing all the way up. And one of them was a little bastard named Loki, who liked to go through people's pockets when they weren't looking and like basically try to like take your shit off of you.
Well, yeah, no, he thinks you're keeping babies in there.
Yeah, I think he's
a kangaroo.
Yeah, he was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna steal some fetuses off of this person.
Give me your babies.
Just, I've got off of all empirical evidence. You got a little baby in here, and I'm gonna snatch that fucker. But I had like a sweet moment with Loki where like he came up and he like held my hands, and like I held hands with a kangaroo for a minute. Before we got in the otter exhibit, they were like, all right, by the way, you know, they like to grab stuff, so take off any hats, necklaces, anything you don't want like the otters to grab. And we get to the end, we're going to the gift shop to buy like some I Swam with the Otters hoodies. And we're walking out and I'm just like, where's my wedding ring? And we like start freaking out and like searching, like we check like maybe I left it in the car, or we like we search around the gift shop, we look around the whole premises, and like we're talking to the girl at the front desk and be like, have you seen like a wedding ring? Has anybody turned it up? And she was like, did you go into the kangaroo exhibit or the otter exhibit? And we were like, yeah, we swam with the otters. And she just like really tired, just goes like, okay, so the kangaroos or the otters could have stolen your wedding ring. It could be either one. Did you meet Loki? And I was like, yeah. and they were just like, yeah, so the otters and the kangaroos like to steal stuff.
You should put up giant signs. Giant signs. There should be like cubby holes and lockers. Like you should just be. When you meet Loki, you should be naked.
Yes, there should be an informational video of like, you're about to meet Loki. He's a little bastard who will actively be trying to rob you the entire time. He like tried to get my wallet at one point. Like. He could have made off with so much worse. But yeah, like, and I had the flashback after where I was like, I was holding hands with that little fucker. He could have been doing like an old-timey, like, Oliver Twist ass cam of like, oh yes, sir, let me hold my hands. And then when I'm walking away, he's just palmed my ring. They found it later. They didn't tell me where they found it, but they were like, we found it, we're gonna ship it to you. I don't know if it was
I noticed that you're wearing your ring right now.
Yeah,
like.
which we were just like, oh fuck, I'm gonna have to like wear one of those shitty plastic ones until I can afford a new ring. But like,
that's very funny. I will say this though, like a kangaroo stole my wedding ring is the most like bullshit off the top of your head. Why aren't you wearing your ring at this hotel bar?
Yeah.
Kind of fucking excuse I've ever heard, dude.
I can't help but notice that there's a wedding ring indent on your finger. What happened to it? Kangaroo stole it. Tell me more. Like
the only way you can pull that off. There's only one dude who could have pulled that off, and that would have been Steve Irwin.
Yes.
Yeah, like if Steve Irwin tells you that a kangaroo stole his wedding ring, you'd be like, "Oh, Steve."
If anything, I would kind of be like, I would call bullshit on that, and I would just be like, it's inside an alligator. Like, a hippo has it right now, right? Like, it's
that was the clean version, right?
You're waiting for a hippo to shit it out. That is what's happening.
You ever see his son's Instagram or his son's videos, right?
Doesn't he have one about how he forgave the stingray?
I hope he did.
Yeah.
I hope he did. I mean, look, he and his quick little sidebar to talk about the crocodile hunter. He and his sister are continuing their dad's legacy, which is very sweet and very teary-eyed. But like, he had to turn off his Instagram comments because I like every once in a while a video pop up because like no matter what he was doing, he would be like, "Oi, look at this koala that we just got at the zoo," and then the comments would just be full of just like, "You look just like your dad who died. Remember when your dad died? Hey, remember your dead dad?" And it's just like every single comment is just reminding him of his dad. And at a certain point, it's just like, yeah, the man knows his dad is dead. To be fair, though, he looks exactly like his father. It's very weird.
I had a friend in high school who, right after it died, like not right after, but the following Halloween, went as Steve Irwin being impaled by a stingray as Halloween. And he had to go home and change, not because a teacher made him, but because it was provoking such like a instant and vicious rage in everybody that saw it. Like, people would be walking down the hallway and like from across the hallway just be like, "Fuck you! Fuck you! Take that the fuck off!" Like, people would, I want
to travel back in time and kick this 8th grader's ass.
Yeah.
Like
he was like, "Okay, I'm bailing on it." Like, and
it's genuinely amazing that kid did not get the shit beat out of him.
It came close. I think he made it until like 4th period before he was like, "Okay, bailing on this. Bailing. Been watching too much South Park. I thought this would fly."
Yeah, yes, because 4th period is right before lunch.
Yes.
Right? So he could not make it to lunchtime. Lunchtime, people will be waiting for him.
Yeah, like just a typical high school bully in a Letterman jacket, just beating the shit and be like, "He brought light into all of our lives. He was friend to animals. What the fuck is your problem?
Hey, nerd! Yeah. You want some of this? Get in on this!" And like just some like anime nerd or like this computer. This is what you get for disrespecting a great man.
Hey, this guy hates the majesty of nature. Get his ass.
Theater kids, get over here. They just like.
Yeah, just...
They like snapping their fingers while they're kicking the crap out of this kid.
He's been a massive boon. Just kicking him in the stomach. Just be like, "He's been a massive boon for conservation efforts for years. Species still live because of him. You fuck."
I like the idea of just like an entire high school.
There's just a line around the block. To as teachers turn a blind eye as people are just beating the shit out of my friend Zach.
The vice principal just runs over, break it up, and then just looks down and just like starts kicking it like instinctively. I don't even know. This is just instinct.
I didn't know that my school could spawn such evil.
You are expelled on the spot.
Yeah. Oh God.
Okay, good. That's good. Good stuff. To today's episode, I'm glad that you got your ring back. There's a very good chance that it's gone through a kangaroo's digestive tract.
I was about to say this.
You are almost certainly just like covered in kangaroo shit particles right now.
The next time somebody is like, "Ooh, I love your wedding," I can be like, "Thank you. It was in a kangaroo's small intestine." It has passed all the way through a kangaroo named Loki, and then was fished out by an intern, definitely making minimum wage.
If we're talking Carol Baskin shit, that's probably a volunteer, dude.
Yeah, no, I think somebody working their way through veterinarian school.
Let's talk about our episodes of TV today. We have Season 5, episodes 21 and 22. Episode 21, Barney Runs For Sherriff. episode 22, if I had $250,000. Fuck, dude, you know what you mentioned? It would be great if we had a Gordon Ramsay sound effect earlier. I really wish we had that for the $250,000 one. I'll explain why later. Let's do the first episode. We'll do the more interesting one first. These are both directed by Alan Rafkin, and get used to hearing Alan Rafkin's name because he directs like 80% of the next season. So we'll start with... All right, we're going to start with Season 5, Episode 21. Barney Runs for Sherriff. Originally airs February 8th, 1965. Written by Dick Powell and directed by Alan Rafkin. And here is your one-sentence summary from Wikipedia. Barney ends up running against Andy for sheriff when a new job offer for Andy falls through. So, I want to tell you, this is one where, like, I think the episode itself is fine. I actually kind of like the episode. It works well as an episode of TV for me. But the meta-narrative that you and I love so much is fascinating on this one.
I mean, I am going to say, I think, independent of any context, I would say that this is one of the saddest episodes of television I have ever seen. If you read into it even a little bit, like it is like an episode of The Leftovers. Like it is just like there should just be like sad piano playing through all of the back of it. Yeah, so give me the one sentence summary on Wikipedia over this.
Barney ends up running against Andy for sheriff when a new job offer for Andy falls through.
I mean, yeah, isn't that horrible?
I'm so glad we paid for that soundboard. It's really coming through.
It's already paid for itself with one sting. Yeah. Just again, Barney runs against Andy for sheriff after Andy's new job falls through. Bleak, right? It's bleaker in execution.
So let's talk this one through. I think we're gonna do beat by beat for this. First off, right off the bat, racism. The first line is just mildly racist, but like we're fading up on the episode, so we're not even fully in focus yet. And we hear Barney's getting angry, and he's like, "There you go again! Yeah, every month you pull up stakes and move just like an Arab."
Yeah.
And I think what that means is that like Arabs were known for having traveling caravans, like they had tents and things. So they were nomadic.
They were thought to be a migrant people, I guess.
Which is obviously not true. Arabs have, there are Arabic cities. There have always been Arabic cities. They have settlements just as everyone else. Some settlements in particular were getting really interesting around the time of 1965. But so that aside, we are talking about continuity because I think the writers realized, we've already done this. But Andy says, look, that was 3 months ago. I was going to move to Raleigh and I didn't take the job. And Barney yells, yeah, you're not taking this job either. So we started kind of in media res here. We find out that Andy has been offered a job, not a law enforcement job. He's been offered a job from a hunting buddy, a guy named Ed Crumpacker, which and Ed Crumpacker from St. Paul, Minnesota. So a guy that he's friends with is trying to pull some strings and get him a job in like an executive training program. So he's gonna go corporate. He's going big business. Barney is, of course, distraught by this. He's upset. His buddy's leaving him. But Andy sounds almost hopeful. He's interested. He's awake, which we haven't seen him awake in a while.
He's happy. He is so happy with this prospect. He's really excited about this next phase of his life because he's talking about it, be like, and like they have offices all over the world, so they could place me in like Europe or South America, like it, and he's like really enwrapped in it, and and Barney is just like shooting it down, and he's like basically throwing everything he can to guilt him about it. Is like what about the kids? Like they won't want to like live in a new place, and Andy's like, they're cool with it. Not the kid. The kid.
I like how you said the kids. One of those kids is Aunt B.
Yes,
I think
basically.
I think that's accurate because Aunt B has not been portrayed as an adult woman for at least a season or two.
Yeah, she is functionally one of his children now. But yeah, it's like, yeah, Aunt B and Opie, they're totally cool with it. And Barney says, like, well, what about the big one? What about her? And Andy just goes like, well, and he goes like, well, you know how that is. And I thought the explanation was going to be like, she knew this wasn't that serious. She'll be happy to see me off. But instead he's like, I'll send for her. Basically,
he said, maybe I'll send. This whole breakdown is very weird because, like, it takes him forever to say Helen. He's like, what about her? Her who? They act like she's Voldemort.
Yeah.
Like, you should be able to say your girlfriend's name. And then Andy, like, with the most wishy-washy, non-committal bullshit I've ever heard, was like, well, you know how things are going, and if things kept going this way, then maybe I would send for her. I would go, and then I'd send for her to move here. And I gotta be honest, man, I think I actually prefer Barney's outright cheating to this bullshit wishy-washy, like, is she my girlfriend or not shit that Andy's been pulling for like a year and a half.
Marty, they're just fucking. Like, they're fucking. They like each other, but they're just hooking up. And he would probably be like, yeah, if he gets there and he's like, I miss Helen, he'd be like, hey, do you want to come live in South America with me? And he's kind of like, but she'd probably say no. Like, she probably would not want to move to South America with me, but I'd ask.
It kind of seems like one of those things, like they're just putting up the hints of a relationship for the sake of propriety. And it feels like a lot of this stuff is done for the sake of propriety. Keep that in there. So anyway, Barney's already tried to guilt him with Helen, and that's not working. Barney says, oh, you're going to send for her. You're going to send for me too? Or am I going to stay here and be sheriff? And that's when Andy, like, reveals something that shows that he's serious about this. He says, well, you might as well run, right? I'm supposed to file the papers for re-election in the next couple days, and I wasn't gonna, so someone ought to, right? And so that's the crux of this episode. Andy is not filing for re-election. The ballot, like...
And Andy says, if you ran for sheriff and you won, which you would win because nobody else is gonna run, you would make more money and be able to get a house, probably. Barney immediately just switches off all objections to Andy leaving, everything he put out there, like the whole 12 years of friendship thing, done. He's just like, oh shit, yeah, I can make more money. Fuck yeah, get out of here, bro.
He literally tosses his hat in the ring, except I want you to keep in mind that, and this is in continuity, right? A couple of months ago, Barney, at that same time that Andy didn't take the job in Raleigh, Barney also decided, I don't want to fucking be sheriff.
Yes.
He was sheriff for a couple of days, and he had a miserable time, and he hated it. And we know that is true because of the line that we heard before. So these are in continuity with one another. So what we're about to witness is a competition between two men for a job that neither of them want, but they both have to appear as if they do.
Yes.
So Andy does not file for re-election. Barney does. Next scene, we're on the front porch with Andy and Barney and Aunt B. And Aunt B, again, some more mild racism here, is worried about the prospect of going to South America for the strange things they eat there. Motherfucker, I've never been to South America, but here's what I do know they do. Meat!
Yes.
They make so much meat. Like, they'll just, you know what you'll eat in South America? Half a pig.
Yeah, like
an entire half a pig. There you go.
I think and she's talking about like bringing canned food and like basically thinking that they're going to be living in a jungle. And
guys, much like Barney, she doesn't realize that brown people also have cities and settlements.
Yes, she thinks that they're going to be like moving to like a village with huts, basically,
as opposed to like Rio de Janeiro, which is like a burgeoning tourist attraction at this point.
Yeah.
You know, in the 60s. Like Acapulco is also like a tourist. People are going there. Movie stars are going there all the time.
Which, she's not anti-going, but she's basically planning, like, well, I have to pack enough food to feed us for 3 years. Yeah, we're gonna have to live off of canned carrots until we move back to America.
There's just another bit there. Andy corrects her and says, like, they have meat, beans, tomatoes, just the same stuff we eat here. He mentions tortillas. Opie doesn't know what a tortilla is. He confuses it with a tarantula. Says they eat those big spiders? And, like, no, that's a tarantula. That said, I know some places in Brooklyn where you can eat a fried tarantula, and I'd try that.
I would destroy a fried tarantula.
I would go to town. I imagine it's like a soft shell crab, right? I got no problem with eating bugs.
Oh!
Like I've had crickets before. Like, they're like a little crunchy snack. I got no problem with eating bugs.
Dude, crickets with, like, with like a light dusting of like buffalo sauce, or not buffalo sauce,
dude.
Like buffalo powder,
like
or something.
The powder, yeah, man. I like it with
So
the ranch
good.
seasoning. It's really good. It's good. Like,
if you offered me, like, hey, do you want a thing of Doritos or do you want a thing of crickets? I'll take crickets every single time.
Like three of the best things to eat are like shrimp, crab, and lobster. And guess what? Those are bugs.
Yes.
Just because they come from the ocean, don't make them not bugs.
Yeah. No.
Which I'm gonna dovetail this back in. Do you remember when Andy refused to eat snails?
Yes.
Do you remember season 2 Andy, who like threw a fit about the idea of eating fancy French snails, which didn't make any sense because canonically Andy's been to France? That's such a huge departure. The growth, the character growth that's happened here from that dude who was like, I don't want to eat snails even though I eat crawfish all the time, and that's equally as gross, if not more, to this guy who's like, yeah, I want to go check some stuff out.
I am going to disagree with you on the matter of it being character growth. I think it's more along the lines of like, yeah, I'll eat some fucking snails. Just get me the hell out of here. Like, what do they eat?
I'll take it. I'll count it.
What do you want me to eat? Do you want me to eat some salamanders? I'll go eat some salamanders. I don't give a shit. Get me the fuck out of here.
My standards for what qualifies as growth is so low, dude. This show has been in stasis for 100 episodes. I'll count it. I will fucking take it.
Yeah.
All right.
Where you read growth, I read desperation.
And that's why what's about to happen is so fucking sad. Is Andy goes inside real quick and he gets a phone call. And it's Ed Crumpacker. And we can hear the other half of the conversation. We can hear Andy saying, oh yeah? Well, job went to somebody's cousin, huh? Well, alright. I guess that's alright. I don't know how well I do outside of Mayberry anyway. Small town and all. Okay, thanks, Ed. And he hangs up, and like I felt this is the most I've ever felt for this character. Like, because I know that, dude. I know that fucking feeling where you think something good's gonna come your way and it just gets ripped out.
You have a job that sounds so fucking perfect, and it's like in the bag. You're gonna get it. It's people have like promised you, like, you're gonna get this job. It's gonna change your fucking life. Here's everything about it. There's a fucking foosball table in the break room. Everybody punches out at 2.
Yeah,
like it's heaven. Like, you're gonna make so much money. And basically like, and nobody else wants it. It's only you. You got this locked up. And then at the last second,
this is getting really, really specific.
I mean, I've had this happen to me like 15 fucking times.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
like This has happened at least 10 times in my life has this rug been ripped out from under me, and it hurts every single time.
And the ones that always like hurt the most is when it's like, yeah, the CEO's nephew got it, or some shit like that. Like when it is
fuck. You know what? At least Andy's buddy has the decency to give him a phone call.
Yeah.
Right. Today we just ghost you. Today we just like, yeah, buddy, you got it, and you do 5 interviews, and then they just disappear, and they stop taking your calls, and they block your email address.
Yeah. Like the worst one. I'd say it's worse when it's actually like, listen, you were our only choice. Everybody in the interview loved you. But then at the last second, Jesus Christ came by the offices, and we were like, what's up with this guy? Let's give him the job. It's like like, oh, this absolute, like, master of the universe happened to, like, be just walking by the building and we hired him. Like, those ones are way worse.
Those are the worst. They're the worst. I imagine, though, if Jesus Christ reappeared for this job, I think there would probably be some vacancies at the company. If Jesus Christ comes by the company, you're actually going to wind up with, like, a 40% downturn in staff, is my understanding. Suddenly, a lot of positions are going to open up.
He rolled in, he raptured our secretary, just pointed a finger, sent her to heaven real quick. And we
good
were
for
all
her.
like,
She deserved it.
Yeah, it was like, we were all like,
we're all very happy for her.
This guy's got a great energy. Love it. Love it. He sent Bill from accounting to his eternal reward, and we were like, what? We gotta hire this dude.
Long story short, we found our new community manager.
Yeah.
Say hello to JC.
And we have like community happy hours, and we were like, well, let's just go to Jesus Christ, our new social media manager, and he'll turn some water into some wine. So, so we can't give you the job. Sorry, you were super qualified. Fucking, yeah. So, this hit, I mean, even if it wasn't emotionally resonant as somebody who had tried to find a job during an economic depression, it would still hit because Andy Griffith, the actor, to his fucking credit, just sells the shit out of the defeat. Like, he has just this walk from the living room to the porch, and you see Aunt B hearing the conversation, and just go like, oh fuck. And he's just walks slowly out, and there is just like a weight to him. Like, there is now an anchor around his neck. Because he sits down and he's just like, I didn't get the job, and also I just gave up my fucking job. And he is talking about it, and he's like, he told me to not quit my job until I fucking had it, and I got excited, and I didn't listen, and now I am fucked. So in addition to that, he's like, we're going to lose the house. I'm going to have to start working at the grocery store.
I mean, I think you're reading a lot into the performance. It feels like for me, I didn't read that because it felt like it hadn't really hit him yet. Like he hadn't gotten to that stage of grief yet. Because he just kind of seems like, well, this sucks. And when Barney calls it out later on, he's like, well, I'll figure something out. And I think I know why, right? I think I know why he's not in that, like, despondent, oh no, what am I gonna do thing. He's already kind of made his peace. He had enough time to make his peace with not being sheriff.
Yeah.
Right? So Barney offers to withdraw from the ballot, but Andy says you can't do that. It's state law. The ballot's been printed, and you're the only one available for it. You're the only one, so you can't withdraw. Legally, you can't. And Barney's like, that sucks, man. And Andy's like, yeah, I'll figure something out. He's not that upset at losing his entire livelihood. I think when he says, I'll figure something out, he really means it. Because I don't know if you remember, 15 minutes ago, he was up for an executive position at a big company with no experience whatsoever. He's been a sheriff for 12 years, and I guess those are transferable skills.
He'll just call up like a different hunting buddy and be like, hey, Bill, do you still need an executive salesperson at your boat company? Yeah, I want it. All right, cool, I'll see you in a little bit, man.
Real quick, before we move on from this, I searched Jesus Christ on LinkedIn to see if I could connect with Jesus while we were talking about that. There are 1,600 results.
LinkedIn? Just real quick. I'm going to do this too.
So here are some of my favorite headlines or like titles for people who are named Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ, student at Temple University.
Good for you, Jesus. Getting that MSW.
Jesus Christ, delivery specialist at Amazon. Jesus Christ, the prophet, but prophet is spelled Profit, like money. My favorite one here is definitely Jesus Christ, content creator at YouTube.
I'm seeing Jesus Christ, head of state at Godlandia, America.
That's the number one. I left that one alone. It seemed a little too obvious, but
yeah. Or do we have to bleep these? Are we doxing people? I mean, you could.
We're not doxing these people. Their names. They put the Jesus Christ. It's obviously a fake name.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
I don't think any of these people are actually named Jesus Christ.
Oh man. Okay, I'm sorry. Jesus Christ, head of state at Godlandia. Experience, president of Godlandia, America. Head of state of Russia, all caps. The Kremlin government from May 2023 to present. President of Egypt. Egypt in all caps. Head of state of Jesusia, the continent. The Jessian government. And head of state at Italy. Location, the Italian government.
I found Jesus Christ Prime Minister at Australian Government Department of Education, Skills and Employment. I think that might be an actual guy. I think that maybe there might have been like a low-grade Australian politician whose name is Jesus Christ. And I will say this, his LinkedIn picture appears to be an oil painting of Danny DeVito. So, Jesus Christ, Australian Jesus, we're on board with you.
Jesus Christ.
Australian Jesus could get his wedding ring back from a kangaroo.
Jesus Christ is about to slide into my LinkedIn messages and ask me for a job. That is gonna happen. Be like, hey man, I saw that you were looking at my profile. Do you need a messiah at your company?
I mean, the one that's a student at Temple University, like we could see that guy on the street at any time. So Barney launches a plan. Later on that day, at the Taylor's house, he's got everybody in town there for a meeting. There's a bit of him trying to like go over who's gonna be in charge of saying things. Floyd and Goober are there doing Floyd and Goober things. It's all very dumb. Blah blah blah. The whole point of this is Andy comes in, and Barney announces that they're going to do a write-in campaign, trying to push everybody to write in Andy Taylor for sheriff, and he's going to be pushing that as well, so he's not going to campaign for himself.
And I do want to, like, the way this happens is Barney is, like, organized everybody to sit in Andy's living room so that they can kind of do, like, an
intervention.
Like an intervention / surprise party, but like Barney is sitting at a table with a gavel and everybody is just gathered around, and then Andy walks in and they're like, surprise, we're gonna save your job. And you can see like Andy kind of being like touched by this. Like he's like, oh, okay, these people care. Like, that's good.
He's touched, but I want to say this. He never says, thank you for doing this for me. I'm so happy I get to be sheriff again. What he says is, well, if you guys want me to, I will, I guess. Like, he's very clearly already made up his mind. I think, Ed Crumpacker job aside, Crumpacker Industries job aside, Crumpacker Incorporated? Crumpacker Industries job aside, I think that he'd already kind of made up his mind. I think the fact that, like, let's all read into this. The fact that he didn't even bother to file paperwork should tell us all we need to know. Like, he's not interested in it. I actually, and then all of a sudden I was like, oh, the whole, like, this whole series makes so much sense when I realized I don't think this dude ever wanted to be sheriff. I think it was just like a thing that he fell into. Like, if you never leave your town that you grew up in, sometimes you just fall into a job. Like, it's your, sometimes you go to work for your wife's dad, and I guess that's what you do now. You sell shoes. That's it for you forever.
And I think if you're the most capable person in your zip code, eventually you're just going to end up the fucking sheriff, I guess, because it's the highest position of authority in the town.
Since apparently there is no mayor anymore.
Yeah.
Later on, the moderator of a sheriff's debate is Floyd for some reason. There's no mayor to this town. There's no governor or meant to this town to speak of. So,
it is existing in a state of anarchy, basically.
So yeah, I don't think Andy ever wanted to be sheriff. And when you look at it that way, this whole show makes way more sense.
Yeah.
Like, what? We've all been screaming at him, do your job! And he's like, I have never wanted to do anything less.
I just kind of ended up doing this, and now I have to keep doing it, or all these idiots will drown in the lake. They'll all just, like, accidentally form a suicide cult.
I have so many questions. I need the gritty, sexy CW Andy Griffith reboot prequel. I have so many questions about how this man wound up here. I have so many questions now. Like, we know that he had a steady girlfriend in high school. Who moved away to Chicago, and he didn't go with her, and he had a second chance with her, and he blew it. And sometime after that, he must have had another girlfriend, presumably somebody else that he went to high school with, who became Opie's mother. We do not know what happened, so they were together, and now she's presumably very dead. And then he fell into being the sheriff, and I guess that's just been where he's been forever. Oh my God, it's all being like he's just now getting over his wife.
Yeah,
he's just now it's been years, and so he's just been running through the motions because of his wife died. His wife died, presumably.
I mean, season 1 we had the theory that Andy used to be a con man. And my theory is lived in Mayberry, went and was like a con man in like Kansas City, like he was like Hot Hand Griffith, like hustling at pool and ripping people off and running petty scams.
Because season 1, Andy was attentive and liked to do stuff.
Was a scoundrel though, like a little rapscallion.
Was active.
Yeah, so he is a con man. Then he gets drafted, goes to war. Comes back, finds out he has a son, and his the girl he knocked up is dead. Comes back to be a father. Becomes sheriff just because it's like, the fuck else are you gonna do if you're the smartest person in town? Is happy for a little bit, but also doesn't really give a shit about being a sheriff. And then slowly becomes increasingly entangled in this place until he is in this situation.
Yeah, all right. I'm gonna buy it.
That's my unifying theory of all of our.
I like the theory. I like all of our things are coming together. I like that. I like that we put that in there. And he's also given up the con, obviously, because he hasn't pulled a good con in ages.
Yeah, he's rusty.
He's finally got all that out of his system. He's trying to go straight, and now he's bored.
Yeah.
And he's hoping that, like, I don't know, maybe if he goes even more corporate, it'll fix things. But it's not working out for him. So, point is, the dude does not want to be sheriff. And if you remember correctly, Barney does not want to be sheriff either. So, we have an election going on between two guys who do not want this job, but have to keep up the appearance publicly that they do. So, they begin the campaign. They go to Floyd's. By the way, Howard McNear apparently fully recovered. He's up and walking about throughout this episode. Good for Howard. He go to Floyd's, and there's a bit about the campaign strategy being win with Taylor, and it's easy to spell Taylor. It's hard to spell Fife. There's a lot of ways you could do that. It's dumb. Whatever.
But you can see, like, kind of the seeds of resentment getting sprinkled into Barney's brain, because Floyd is just basically like, oh, nobody's gonna vote for Barney. Everybody's going to, like, vote for Andy. And Barney is like, well, he's a write-in candidate. I'm on the ballot. And Floyd is just like, not a problem. Won't be an issue.
And this happens a couple of times. Gomer, they ask Gomer, hey, Gomer, can you tell people about the writing campaign? When they drive through the filling station, and Goober says, I've already been doing that. Everybody already knows. I don't think I need to tell anybody. They all kind of know. And Barney says, well, what about the ones that are going to vote for me? And Goober just throws out, I haven't run into any.
Yeah.
Which is probably the funniest line Goober's delivered so far. Funny in that same, like, I sleep in a big bed with my wife kind of thing. Just throwing it off the cuff there. And the final straw is that Thelma Lou, Barney's longtime suffering girlfriend, says that she's even voting for Andy. And I like this build-up. This works for me. This whole scene kind of works because they let it play out. They let it develop. They don't have Barney Fife. They don't have Don Knotts go off the handle and start screaming about things. Like it stews with him for a little bit. And I like this.
Yeah. But and he kind of like, so he reaches this point of him being like, well, I want some votes. I don't want to get blown out by a guy that has to be written onto the ballot. I want some people to accidentally vote for me, at least.
I feel this. Like I'm so mad about this. I feel for both of these men right now.
Yeah,
I understand their feelings. Damn you, the Andy Griffith Show, for making me empathize with these dog shit characters.
It's kind of okay. So it's a really good episode. It's like just unbelievably depressing. So then they get to the point where Barney just like talks to Andy, and he's like, I kind of want to campaign a little bit. Just, make sure people have an option, which is basically the pretext they come up with, because Andy is like, yeah, making sure democratic process and stuff.
Yeah, democracy. Democracy needs us both to run.
Yeah, but basically what Barney's saying is like, I need some votes or this is going to kind of suck for me. And Andy's like, that makes sense. Absolutely, dude.
I like the little subtext they put under there. I like that they're talking so very American. Like, we need to do this to protect democracy. And yeah, of course, democracy. Sure. Absolutely. And then this is one of the best setups and punchlines that we've seen on the show. Barney walks outside and there's a guy in a truck that is just plastered with "Vote for Fife" signs. And Barney says, all right, buddy, you're hired.
Yeah.
It's such a good payoff. The build up, the payoff, it all really works for me. So the next scene is Barney trying to campaign. Floyd won't put up his posters in the barbershop. There's a scene between Barney and Floyd where they talk about how businessmen should give campaigns to both should give donations to both campaigns to keep themselves covered. And Floyd's like, yeah, bitch, I'll give you half price on a haircut next week. Piss off.
And you can, like, over the course of, like, these interactions, it is ceasing to be a game to Barney. Like, it is becoming more and more serious for him of, like, I want to win. Not for, like, wanting the job, but at this point, just for kind of, like, my own ego. Like, but it's kind of, like, again, it's kind of running away from him, and he's forgetting why he initially did this.
Yeah, remember, this is all pure ego for Barney. And again, for a job he declared 3 months ago he does not want.
Yes. So, later, Andy is talking to Floyd, and he's like, I told you to hang up Barney's posters, and Floyd is like, I don't want to. Some bullshit. And Barney walks in on this and thinks that Andy is, like, interfering and conspiring to stop Floyd from hanging up his posters. And then freaks the fuck out. He does actually have that freak out where he's like, okay, game on, bitch. It's like, we're going fully. I want this job. I want to beat you in the election. And challenges him to a debate.
And I'm saying, like all libertarians, his first reaction is, debate me!
Debate me, coward!
Face me in the marketplace of ideas!
I will crush you under the hammer of logic!
I kind of turned into the mayor of Townsville there for a second. How have we been doing this for so long, and we just keep getting worse?
Our Barney Fife impressions just veer it's like a mystery box. Like, all right, I'm gonna try to do a Barney Fife impression. What's gonna come out? Gene Hackman? What the fuck? Like, it's like, wow, why? How did I do, like, a pitch perfect Kurt Russell? I just tried to do a Barney Fife impression.
Oh, man, if you could do a Kurt Russell impression, I would make you do it all the time.
I mean, we're all very... now, the best Kurt Russell I can do is just kind of talking like this.
That's true.
Yeah. Like, we're all very tired. Which is just, this is just kind of my default cool guy voice.
So, it's debate time. As I said before, the moderator of this debate is Floyd. Why?
Inexplicably.
There is no mayor. There used to be a mayor to this town. What happened to him? We've had 2 mayors. And And
one
now
of them
there's
had a
none.
heart attack, and the other one got mauled by a bear, and then after that, they were just like, this mayor thing doesn't seem like it's for us.
Wait! They're having an election right now! Is sheriff the only thing you can vote for?
I think sheriff is effectively mayor now. They've just dismantled their municipal government to the point that this is the only public office that they have.
That just occurred to me. This entire episode is about an election, and we never hear about anything else on the ballot. Now would be the time when you should introduce a mayor.
This is more or
maybe
less a
like
military
two guys who want to be
dictatorship.
mayor. I'm stunned. I'm stunned. How did that not occur to me? What the fuck?
One of Andy's fucking plan Bs was probably like, oh, well, if I don't get to be sheriff, maybe I'll just become the mayor. I'll just, like, walk into the middle of town and be like, hey, everybody, I'm the mayor. And everybody be like, cool, love it, into it. Like, we haven't had one of those for a hot minute. Seems like everything's been going fine, but let's give you a shot.
Seems like everything's been going fine is Andy's campaign slogan.
Basically. Okay, so let's
Barney stands up. Pissed off Barney gets up, and he has a briefcase with 75 cases of malfeasance. And I was excited because I was like, oh man, is he finally going to say like, hey, Andy has never once actually recorded an arrest? Did you know that we've never arrested anyone on the books ever?
But so Barney stands up and says, I have 75 cases of malfeasance. Aunt B is heckling his ass. She is like, she yells like fiddle faddle. And I think she's basically just like, rush the stage, break his legs.
She calls him a rabble rouser.
Yeah.
Helen says, what a disgraceful tactic. Like he's going like for a smear campaign.
I mean,
like he's trying to pull out like Swift boat veterans for Fife.
He's basically doing Swift boat vet because I think he walks up and he has, I have documented cases of malfeasance, which, they cut to Andy and Andy looks fucking gutted because I think he was expecting Barney to say why he would be better at the job or just why he would be good at the job. But I don't think he was expecting for Barney to say he is bad at the job.
The episode rushes by this like casual public backstabbing by your best friend,
who has been, as he just announced, writing shit down that you are fucking up at your job. So basically like another thing is, he's been preparing this. He's just been writing down dirt on me for fuck knows how long.
Yeah, I don't see how you go back to being friends after this.
Yeah, like if one day like we were just like out and you just pulled out a list of like 20 reasons why Dan should be fired, I would be like, well, I feel like after 3 we're kind of done as friends.
I just have a notebook of just like everything Dan's been wrong about for the past year and a half.
Just keeping my running diary of all of Marty's faults. Just kind of been documenting them, time stamping them, keeping really meticulous notes about everything that's bad about him, morally, intellectually, just generally all of his failings as a man.
I'm a good friend.
Yeah,
this is what good friends do.
I don't have a particular plan for what I'm going to do with this. It seems like a good thing to have, right?
It seems like something you should have around, in
we
case
just
you need
all
it.
keep that.
You know how Batman has plans in case any member of the Justice League goes rogue? This is just my in case I need to stop Dan because red kryptonite he's been exposed to red kryptonite and now he wants to take over the world. That's just why I've got this. That's why I got this.
In case I try to blow up City Hall with Joker gas, you just have a list of times I was really wrong about movies.
It's like all right, here's a list of things that Dan is sensitive about, just in case I need to stop him from committing an act of terrorism. Fucking just yelling at you, hey man, That dynamite vest makes your hips look even more feminine.
You're in like a hostage taking scenario, and I just like come up to they hand me the bullhorn, and I'm just like, hey man, remember that time that you said nuclear instead of nuclear in public and everybody just had an awkward silence? Do you remember that?
Fuck.
Yeah.
And then somebody else, take the shot! And then I'm dead.
All right, I'm coming out. He has a binder. He's going to keep reading these off. Oh, God. Yeah, so Barney does that.
Barney does that.
Fucking devastated.
But the problem is...
I'm not reading into that. Andy looks horrified.
But the problem is the shit that he comes up with is just standard Barney Fife shit. His number one point is that traffic is really bad in this city. Jaywalking is crazy. All right. And I should remind everybody, Barney had his foot ran over twice last week. He has a point there. Right?
Yes.
Somebody ran over, and everyone just glosses over that. But Barney's like, traffic is so bad in the city because he won't enforce anything. And then he does his Barney Fife fascist bullshit, which is, we haven't kept up with the times, so I don't have any tear gas. I don't have any, like, submachine guns. Which, hey, just real quick, why, Barney, does a small town sheriff's office in 1965 need tear gas, pal? Can you want to explain that one, buddy? It's 1965, and you need tear gas for some reason. I don't really know why.
I mean, if you follow the trend of public Southern sheriffing, like Mount Pilot had a tank, probably. They were just driving an Abrams down Main Street. So Barney is just looking at that, be like, "Can I at least get a submachine gun?" They just ran over an 8-year-old in a tank with no consequences. Can I just tear gas a guy?
So his bullshit fascist thing, and then whoop whoop whoop. It's the gun. Someone brought up the gun.
Yeah.
This is the season where the gun thing, the reason we started this whole fucking podcast, it comes up. Barney says, "Did you know that your sheriff does not even carry a gun? Your sheriff does not carry around the weapon that allows him to discharge his duties."
We have been waiting for the impassioned Andy Griffith, "Here's why I don't need a gun" speech. It's the thing that we saw on like a fucking Facebook meme that is why we started this. Still, it hasn't happened yet.
Still waiting.
It's not going to happen today.
Doesn't happen this episode.
Yeah, all previous explanations have been like, it doesn't really seem like I need one. But Andy, so he brings up the gun. Your sheriff does not protect you. He does not carry a gun with which to keep you safe.
That's the root of his argument is your sheriff cannot protect you.
Yeah.
And then Andy comes up, and boy does he fight for this job, man. He delivers just a rousing speech, just a rousing defense. The phrases that you think you hear when you hear a man who really wants a job. His case is, well, I've been doing this for a while, and you like me or you don't.
Yeah, basically, he's right about the traffic, but, seems like it's going okay. We don't really have any accidents, and, I don't carry a gun. Doesn't really seem like we need one. Never really had any problems. But, I've been sheriff for a long time, and if you like me, then you should vote for me, I guess. I don't know. And then he, saunters off the stage with the vibe of a man that's about to kill himself.
Okay, because this speech I'm using in quotation marks that he gives here, it's like, in character, it's a man realizing, oh, this is all I can do. Like, I should do this because it's all I've ever done. He's kind of realizing, oh, the only reason I do anything, the only reason anything I have works is because I live in Mayberry. Because his whole argument is just that, it never really seemed like I needed to do any of that stuff because we live here and everything's fine. Right? So it's like Sheriff Taylor himself is realizing, oh, shit. It's all because I'm here. If I go anywhere else, I'm fucked. And
I read it as I read it as like a version of that, which is, oh, I've never actually like challenged myself. Like I've never faced any sort of adversity in this job, so like I've gone soft. But I think like the big thing is basically he was like, I wanted this thing, and as the consolation prize to not getting my dream job, what I did get was at least my friends and family all rallying around me to help me keep my current job, showing me that they care and they want me to stay here. And you know what? That's good. That's I like basically because he has like a little pick me up when they do that, where he's like, oh, okay, well at least these people care, and that's good. And then he gets to the point where he's like, and now the person that like I trust the most just straight up backstab me. So he's basically like, even the consolation prize is now tainted.
All right. So, meta narrative though, right? Don Knotts is probably already announced that he's leaving.
Yeah.
Yeah. Remember, at this point, like Andy, we don't know when it happens. I want to get like an Andy Griffith biographer on the show to explain me the timeline here. But, you know, Andy Griffith, the actor, kind of seems like he wants to wrap this show up. Don Knotts, his friend, has already said, I'm gone. My movie career is taken off. And then something happens. I don't know what happens. What truck full of money CBS backs up onto his front lawn to make Andy Griffith change his mind. But it kind of seems like Andy Griffith, the actor, is sitting here going, I don't know if I can make it outside of Mayberry. And remember, he kind of doesn't. He flounders for about 10 years before Matlock. This show ends in 1968. 1971, he comes back with a TV show called The New Andy Griffith Show, and it flops. It tanks. So he's been, it's a decade since he's done Facing the Crowd. Really a decade since he's done any real acting. So I think the meta narrative here is Andy Griffith, the actor, kind of being like, can I make it?
Stuck with this?
Can I make it? Can I do anything if this show ends? Which I think would probably explain why it sticks around for 3 more years. Like, he knows his buddy Don is gone, so he's like, I don't know if I can do anything but be Andy Taylor for a little while. So I think this is conjecture, but it all kind of makes sense in the timeline to me. I think this is Andy Griffith, the actor, kind of like speaking to us, coming to terms with the idea that I guess I gotta be this guy for a little while longer.
Yeah.
Because as Andy Taylor, the character, is like, I guess I gotta still be sheriff, because what else am I gonna do? Deeply sad shit. Like, the most human stuff I've ever seen. Hey, do you want to hear a comment from the Mayberry fandom wiki?
Yeah.
All right, a fandom user on March 28th of 21 wrote, after being missing for several seasons, the screen door is back on the Taylor house.
You fucking apes! You children! Who cares? They're just like, we're watching this once. I watch an episode of this show and then it is dead to me. And I will never watch it again and ideally never think about it again. And we are picking up on this whole fucking meta-narrative almost involuntarily. I'm not reading between the lines. Like, I'm not, like, desperately looking for, like, what's the secret story of the Andy Griffith Show? It's just kind of coming to us, like, from, like, having any sort of, like, analytical mindset to
any media literacy whatsoever.
And these people are obsessively poring over details
fans.
To the point where they're noticing whether or not there's a screen fucking door, and they're like, seems fine. Everything seems cool. Not seeing any cracks here. Like, just, they're the Andy Griffith Rerun Watchers Club. They watch the reruns whenever they can.
All they want to talk about is an extra who wears a nice dress. They call her Nice Dress Nellie, and it's like the same woman who's in the background of many shots wearing a nice dress. Like, who cares? Who cares? There's emotion on the screen. Interact with the art. Interact with the art at all. Do it.
Built your lives around, you lunatics. just generally, like, they must be watching it on mute and just being like, they must just not have the volume on and just be like watching the screen, just not, and be like, no black people. All right.
Yeah.
It's
okay.
like, just,
Yeah.
is there any in this room? No, sir. All right, let's keep it moving. Okay, another scene. Oh, ladies. Okay, all right, loving this. Woo! Oh, is that screen door back? Cool. No black people on the porch. Sick. Love it.
I can't fucking believe this, dude. Maybe I'm being a little unfair, but no, I'm not. I've interacted with this group so, like, from afar, studying them like Jane Goodall, and yeah, listen. We blame CinemaSins a lot for the death of like media literacy, but damn, dude, it's always been there. Just interact with the art. Interact with the art. Interact. I promise you, your lives will be richer if you think about what you're watching even a little. I promise you. It can only make your lives better.
The modern equivalent is if Marvel lunatics were just like one day like, hey, does Captain America seem like a little sad to you in the movies? Does it seem like maybe he's a little bummed out? Yeah, if just somebody just showed that little awareness of the thing they had built their lives around.
How does this all culminate is that after that, like, rousing speech from Andy, Barney gets up and goes, well, I don't know about you, but I'm convinced. I guess I'll vote for Sheriff Taylor. And then everyone else goes, yay! We don't have to adapt to change. Although, at that point, I would be like, what the fuck did you do? Why are you wasting my time?
Yeah.
I canceled my evening plans to come to this debate.
Or, like, I got a sitter. Like, but also, like, what did Andy do just now that changed his mind? Andy gave the most, like, defeated argument. And Andy, like, was Barney like, it was a prank! Like, I never meant it!
He cannot keep you safe is a very powerful political tactic. It has been basically every Republican tactic against Democrats for the past 50 years, and sometimes it works. Like,
yeah. I would say often.
Often. I would say very often it works. It's effective, right? Using fear to win is a good, solid political strategy. And then, Barney's like, LOL, JK.
Yeah.
Never mind. I can't believe it. Like, it just ends so poorly.
Abruptly.
Yeah,
like,
I don't even remember. Is there a stinger? I don't remember there being a stinger.
I am blanking on if there was a stinger, so if there was, it was not very good.
And that's it.
Like,
the status quo is maintained. The final joke is that some guy yells, vote for Fife, and Marty's like, I told him not to go after 9.
Yeah. So, let's just jump right to the Andy score. So, like, this episode, like, kind of peaks during the campaign part. That's where there's, like, dynamics at play. There's, like, emotions happening, but also it's funny. The beginning is just mega depressing. And then but it's, like, going really well. Like, it's funny and there's, like, pathos to it. And then it just kind of ends. And the ending is just such, like, nonsense. Just, like, an absolute lack of any, like, relationship between problem and there's not even a solution. Just 1 second there's a problem, and the next second there's not. And they just didn't do the part where something happens to connect those things. And the ending sucks shit. It just isn't an ending. So, like, I think that drags down what would otherwise be a very high score for me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. The rest of that stuff works out so well for me, and partly because I've built, like, a meta narrative for myself. I'm talking myself into a 7. it definitely hurts that like I watched this literally an hour ago, and I cannot remember there being a scene after the scene we just described. So that's a big strike against it. But I still like this enough. It's very restrained as far as Barney Fife-centric episodes go. So I think I have to put it at a 7.
I think I'm going to say a 6, and if they had stuck the landing, it would have been like a 9. All right, Barney meter. I think 0, right?
It's just, yeah, it's just sadness. I'm not going to give it a point for the like offhand racist line. I'm not going to give it a point for that, just because I don't think that really, like, I'd have to stretch to talk about like the damage that did. I guess I'll give it a 1 for trafficking and stereotypes.
Yeah, that's safe.
A 1 for the stereotypes there, but otherwise, yeah, I think that the Barney meter is still pretty dusty. Goober meter's a fun one though. Goober meter, as you recall, the Goober meter is the new one we've invented, which is a meter for how absolutely done Andy is with this. I'm gonna put it at a 5 because I think this one is like in resignation. Like,
yeah, he's not about to grab a gun and fire wildly into a crowd, but he is, like, I would say kind of by the end a broken man.
Yeah,
like
he's I mean, I guess
he's not better.
He's happy that he gets to maintain the status quo, but man, he does not want to maintain the status quo.
He does not seem happy at the end. Everybody's like, Andy is gonna be sheriff, and he's like, hey, alright, cool, yay. Like, his expression is pained. I think I put it like a 6. I think he's like genuinely like, I would be, if this was my friend, I'd kind of be like, somebody make sure they stay near Andy. Like, somebody keep eyes on Andy. Don't let Andy like be home alone for a while.
You know, I'm not saying that this would be a better show if we did this, but like, we've never seen Andy in any kind of like financial trouble. In fact, we've made fun of Aunt B for like her attempts to save money. Like, I don't know if he has. It seems like his house is paid off. Like, yeah, when it looks like he's gonna be out of his job, he's not really desperate or worried for how he's gonna pay his bills. So yeah, it's. I kind of forgot where I was going with this. Because of that, it just seems like this is it's just a job for him, and he's kind of just come to terms with just like, it's ennui. He's filled with ennui.
Because he actually used to like this.
He used
to like being a pillar of the community.
He doesn't want the job. He doesn't necessarily need the job because it doesn't seem like he's hurting for money. It seems like he could, be unemployed for a little bit and keep the house. And he doesn't like the job, but he's kind of going through this point where he's realizing, I don't know if I can do anything else or if I can be anywhere else. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh boy. So yeah, a 5 or a 6 in resignation for the goober meter there. Are you having fun, kids?
Yeah.
Are you having fun with this episode? You do okay? We've been talking for an hour and a half. I don't think we're gonna do the other episode.
I mean, do you want a lightning round the other episode? Because it's fucking nothing, dog. Like.
Okay, yeah. Let's lightning round the other episode. Let's end this on something of a high note. Okay. Next episode is If I Had a $250,000. Cue the bare naked ladies. Here's the plot of the episode. Here's your 1 cent. Let's see. Originally airs February 15th, 1965. Directed or written by Bob Ross. Not that Bob Ross. Directed by Alan Rafkin. Here's your 1 cent summary from Wikipedia. Barney finds $250,000 from a recent bank robbery and sets out to catch the culprit. All right, so episode opens up. Barney gets to do his favorite thing in the world, harass a homeless guy.
Real bummer. The homeless guy is just sitting there in a top hat. Barney comes up, tells him he has to leave because it's private property. The homeless guy's objection is, come on, man, I'm just trying to live my life and not die. And Barney's like, get the fuck out of here. in the process of basically trying to condemn a homeless man to certain death, finds a suitcase. They get in a lengthy argument about whether or not it's just to open a suitcase.
They being Barney and Andy, not Barney and the homeless guy. He's gone.
Yeah, the homeless guy stays around for a lively debate about civil rights. No, which is weird because this is the one time where Barney has taken a stance like in favor of like personal rights, because Barney is like, you don't want to people wouldn't want you going through their suitcase, and Andy is like, I'm just gonna go through and look for identification.
Yeah, Barney's really coming down pro-warrant on this. He's like, we have no justification to open this suitcase, which actually, this is the one time I think you have the most justification. If a missing suitcase shows up at the police station, yeah, man, I guess I'll turn to my leftist card because I'm gonna say the police get to look at that suitcase.
I mean, of course, this is the one time that Barney accuses something of being a police state.
Yes.
Like,
yeah. Barney specifically says this is how we'll get a police state. What the hell, dude? We've gone through 5 seasons of you wanting that exact thing. Whatever. Andy he takes the suitcase to Goober to pick the lock. Goober apparently has one new skill. He can do that. He's a lock picker. Good job. He picks the lock. They open the briefcase. It's full of cash.
Yes.
It's full of cash. They have a briefcase that is full of money. It is, in fact, $250,000 or $250,000. I don't know if you've ever watched MasterChef, but the grand prize of MasterChef is $250,000. But Gordon Ramsay never says $250,000. He always says $250,000. Yeah, always describes
$250,000.
Always describes it that way. Never says the number. I don't know why. That's why I wanted the Gordon Ramsay soundboard. Maybe I'll do it in post.
I want a John Taffer soundboard.
We're doing a good old crime episode. They find out that there's been a bank robbery recently, but the bank robber probably ditched the cash because the police were closing in at the train station. So he definitely threw the cash overboard off the train, so he didn't get caught with it at the next station. Great. Cool. So Barney comes up with so Andy says the FBI is coming. We stay put. We're gonna lock this up. We don't do anything. We don't do anything. We don't do anything. We're back. This is season 1, episode 2, baby. The feds are coming. The feds are coming. Andy wants to stay out of it. Barney's getting fucking involved.
Barney wants to do a sting operation.
And to his credit, his plan works. Barney's plan is that he's going to use himself as bait, and he's going to pretend like he's a guy who recently found a whole bunch of money. So Barney's plan is to like walk around town, big dick swinging, pretending like he's fully rich, thinking that that's going to lure the other guy out who's going to come looking for his money. And it fucking works!
He arranges for this guy who thinks he's coming like for an underground card game, lures him in, pulls a gun on him.
His criminal informant is Floyd.
Yes.
He tells Floyd to tell any strangers that come into town, if they're looking for some action, some big money action, come meet me down at the hotel because I'm playing poker.
I think that was basically like how it used to work, though, is like, I think the barber was the person that told you about all the crimes. Like, you would go to get your haircut and you'd be like, is there any fun stuff to do in town? And your barber would, while treating your signs, would be like, there's a brothel you should check out. Like, they were...
Let's think about this.
The barber was your red light district.
Let's think about this. Like, occupations that you would trust to give you the hookup on finding some real shit. Number 1, taxi driver.
Mm-hmm.
Cab driver, but there's no cab drivers in Mayberry. Number 2, bartender.
Mm-hmm.
But like at a particular kind of bar, and if you say the wrong thing, you're gonna get kicked out because he thinks you're a fucking cop. You look like a fucking cop, right?
Yeah.
Right. Number 3 I would say is barber. I think barber comes in 3rd at like occupations I expect to give me a link on some shit.
I'm trying to think of something that can beat barber.
4. This one's gonna be a little strange, but garbage man. Garbage man.
Garbage Man know what's up.
Yeah, I mean, they're always in the shit, and like it's an industry that is, often run by the mafia. Like,
I was gonna say, you talk to a good union guy, he'll know where to go.
Yeah, I'm like dock worker, but I'm gonna say number 5 is strip club bouncer.
Yes. Really, anybody that works at a strip club can tell you some places to do some cool shit.
The answer is the bathroom. It's right over there.
Yes, if you ask a stripper, like, what can I do that's fun in town, I think their answer will be, sit in that chair over there.
Yeah. I guess that was a bad example because, like, you're already at the strip club. Like, you don't need to ask people. Okay,
let me tell you something you should do to a night that doesn't involve giving me tips. Absolutely.
Yeah, all right. I need to rethink, but off the cuff, I feel like that was a pretty good list.
Yeah, I think rightfully, barbers fall insignificantly because I think if you talk to like a guy who cuts hair now, either it's like a crotchety old man or it's like a young hip guy. So he does the sting operation. He pulls a gun on the guy.
There's a plot point here where Barney has been keeping his gun in the back of his pants, like at his ass crack, which in movies is a way I've seen people wear guns, and it's a stupid way to wear a gun. It's a good way to shoot your ass cheek, which puts it right up Barney's alley.
He pulls a gun on the guy. The guy talks his way out of it by saying, "I work for the FBI. You must know the secret FBI handshake," which gets Barney hook, line, and sinker.
Right. So it's once again a criminal is appealing to Barney's like authority boner. I thought what was gonna happen was that Barney was going to accidentally arrest the FBI guy.
Yeah.
I thought that's what was gonna happen, but that's not what happens. There is in fact another FBI dude who comes straight to Andy and it's like, I don't think you need to worry about this. It doesn't seem like this guy's gonna come, but I have a square jaw and a suit, and it's 1965, so we're good.
Yeah. So they realize what's happened. I don't recall the specific circumstances around how it happens.
Yeah, Barney gets just tricked into working with the criminal to go get the money, which is actually exactly what happened in Best Western Hotel Detective. Now that I think about it, it's just this is all
just Best Western Hotel Detective.
It's just a redux of that, but worse. Meta narrative again. I think it is kind of interesting that right after that we got like a good old fashioned like stupid crime episode because we haven't had one of those in a while. So that seems like it's trying to capture that lightning in a bottle again. Doesn't really work. This time Barney gets roofied. I think that's the most interesting part of the episode.
They're drinking milk together while on a stakeout.
A fake stakeout. Because remember, the criminal is, the bank robber is pretending to be an FBI agent to throw Barney off the trail. And he says, let's go get the money and we're going to host a stakeout. And then he puts drugs, knockout drops is what Andy calls them.
He roofies Barney.
In Barney's milk. He roofies Barney. He puts knockout drops in his milk. And then Barney falls asleep, and the guy's about to leave with the money when Andy and the real federal guy show up and arrest him.
Yep. And there's a nice little moment of Andy shaming Barney for doing some dumb shit, and then he goes, "Barney, take that gun out of the back of your pants," and then Barney shoots. And I'm assuming narrowly misses his ass by like a hair's breadth.
How can you miss your ass when
directly down the crack?
Like the gun is
perfectly south. The
gun is touching his ass. The gun is touching his ass.
Yeah. He is like magic. He has a almost supernatural ability to not shoot him or anybody else. Is he with all his frequent misfires?
is he magnetic? Like, but in the way that it repels, like, is he a polar opposite of whatever metal is in a bullet? The gun is touching his
like
ass.
Long Shot
the
from
gun
X Factor.
is touching his ass. I can't
get
over that. How does he not? There's no way to not hit yourself. Ratings?
It's just ratings. 2. Andy Meter 2. Don't really give a shit. It's
4.
the same fucking thing. Barney gets tricked by a criminal and then narrowly does not.
We've seen it before. We've seen it better. Barney Meter's a 0. Goober Meter's a 0. It's just if there's one thing that's
it's
likable,
another one.
If there's one thing that's likable about this, it's that it's like, hey, we're back to this. We're going and back and doing that kind of. Remember when Andy Griffith's show used to do this kind of stuff? We're gonna try it out again. See if we still like it.
Yeah.
All right. There it is. If I had $250,000, not even gonna adjust that for inflation. All right. As always, hey, you know what, guys? If you like this show, and I assume that you do because you've listened to it for 90 minutes straight at this point, tell your friends. Tell people about this show. That's the only advertising we're doing anymore. Tell your friends that you think Breaking Mayberry is good.
Reviews.
Give us the ratings and the reviews. You know, hey, you know how you just saw us give ratings to a thing? You should do that, but for our show and good.
And tell your friends to do it. Even if they don't listen to the show, just tell them to do it. It would be pretty sick. Create a second Apple account so that you can rate and review us. Just make a duplicate. Just do your name +1. You're gonna need it because your inbox is getting slowly filled with spam and will eventually be useless.
Yeah,
so
you've had
do that.
You know what? You've had the same email address since college. It's probably time to update it anyway, right?
And then use that to again rate our podcast and say how dope it is.
You know, go download Tinder, go on a few dates, and in those dates, tell everybody you go out with that your favorite podcast is Breaking Mayberry.
Yeah.
And then have them rate and review before the date's over.
If
you're not getting a second date, so you need to get it the first time.
If you are hot, make it very clear that the only way the other person is getting sex is if they rate our podcast.
Just don't do that one.
Cut out me saying that.
Don't be a prostitute for Breaking Mayberry.
I mean,
good night, everyone. We'll see you all down the fishing.
Good night.
Ba-da-ba